Hello everyone, welcome to Venture Chats. I'm Carol Chen. Recently, I traveled to Costa Rica, a small Central American nation with 5 million population, where I met Carla Chavez, the co-founder of eCoins, Latin America's first regional digital currency to reward recycling. Once an agriculture-dominated economy to supply banana and coffee to the world, Costa Rica today has become the darling of international tourists, thanks to a world-famous biodiversity and years of social stability in a region that is otherwise known for political turbulence. With tourism being the #1 industry of the country, Costa Ricans developed a deep sense of responsibility towards environmental conservation and sustainability. It's not surprising that eCoins, such an environmental conscious initiative, was born in Costa Rica. I sat down with Carla to talk about the vision, success, and struggles of eCoins. How did she cope with rejections, and much more. Thanks, Carla. Thanks for joining me on Venture Chats. Really appreciate that you're making time. You are the co-founder and you are the regional director of eCoins. I was curious about how this idea started.
My partner and I have been working together for more than 15 years. Being so close, working with so many companies in communication, in PR, in stakeholders mapping, and trying to add value to all the processes, we start noticing an opportunity. And it was an opportunity in a sector, in an industry, very not understood, very low profile, very not sexy, let's say, which is the recycling industry, the waste management industry. But most of our clients at Proxima Comunicación, which is our PR company, ask us to help them in campaigns, in social responsibility programs, in activities related with waste management and recycling. So my partner Lucila and I start notice that there's a trend, something that really happens every year and more. And we said, why can we try to put together two different words, communication and PR, and recycling. So that's the way that eCoins was born, maybe in our heads 6 or 7 years ago. And we start creating a model, and we, of course, start over and over because it's very hard to work with the industry sector. And the recyclers are very informal, and there's people that maybe haven't received a lot of attention or support, so they do not trust in everybody. They need more information, and especially we want to add the technology component to the equation. So this is not a technology industry. Recycling is not known for being technological or innovative sector. It's very traditional. So Lucila and I start trying to introduce new concepts in the industry as reverse logistics, starting from the consumer, which is very weird because the education does not help you to understand that every time you buy a bottle for, let's say, yogurt, when you finish the product, what happened with that bottle, with that packaging? Because we are used to a linear economy, when you buy, you consume, and you discharge. You not care about the packaging. And we need to change that perspective, and communication and PR tools and the understanding of the whole ecosystem help you to go further and try to add value to this sector. So Lucila and I decided to try with our own resources from the company, and we create the first version of eCoins was a local version named Ecolones. The Colones is our coin in Costa Rica. And when we present the Ecolones in 2018, our life changed absolutely. We started like receiving thousands of questions and contacts and messages, and hundreds of companies came to us and said, "What are you doing, crazy girls?"
Did you feel a little bit daunting because you call this eCoins a technology platform, but both of you and your partner are not from technology background? So how do you feel like you have that courage to step into this unknown territory?
Well, from the very beginning, we understood that the technology is just a tool. This is not a technological program. It's a PR program. It's how you connect the dots, but with the people. And technology is just a tool to do it. It's the way you can scale and you can go like faster and to include people that usually are not aware of this subject. Let's talk about new generation. They are very connected with technology, and those are the generation we need to get into the program, to get involved with the system, because at the end, eCoins is a system. It's not a recycling program. It's not a catalog of discount. eCoins is a way of living. It's like a way of thinking. It's a new mental model where you recognize the value of each part of the change and the value of each one of the people in the change. From the very beginning, we understood that the strength and the relevance of this project is about people, is to connect people that are already working in the market, because we have 4 million people recycling in Latin America. But the industry is not shiny, it's not sexy, it's not recognized.
It's not glamorous.
Exactly, that's the word. It's not glamorous. So we want to add with technology, with communication, with color, with nice look and feel. We want to be talking as a brand. You know, the consumer brands are very charming and glamorous and sexy, and they say, "Oh, you will be happier and you will be prettier if you drink this product or you use this cream." But recycling voices are very boring. No, it's about government, law, taxes. You're going to be punished if you don't do this and that. So who wants to hear that voices if they want to punish you? But brands want to reward you. So we want to like mix these two words, from linear economy to circular economy, putting a new voice in the market, using a new way of communication, look and feel.
Could you share some numbers to help us understand how big is the scale of the program now? For example, how many people registered and how many collection centers and how many corporations you are serving?
So now we have 100,000 people registered, which means 100,000 families registered, because you create one account for your family. With each account, maybe you have 3 or 4 people involved in the house. We are working now in 5 different countries. We work in Costa Rica, in Peru, in Guatemala, Nicaragua, and Colombia. And very, very soon we will add El Salvador and Panama. And we are start working in Honduras, Argentina, Paraguay, and Mexico. So we think that at the end of 2022, maybe we will include at least 10 different countries, but not all the country, of course, because recycling is a very local industry. It's not like a huge industry when you can move material from one country to the other. We hope very soon we can expand it to the whole country, but for now we are very happy because every country we start working with, we understand the reality of this country. We know the recyclers, we know the government, we know all the stakeholders, and they will help us to expand naturally. And they see how we help them to increase the amount of materials, clean, dry, and separate. This is our like magic recipe. If the material is clean, dry, and separate from the other materials, it's raw material. This is not waste. It can be put very fast and very efficiently to the change and go to the industry again. You can reduce the amount of material you extract from the nature. You reduce the oil, you reduce forestal, you reduce metals, and a lot of mining process are reduced, and you use the same materials that are already in the environment, and you use local people. If you analyze all the cost of the industry, you can identify that there's a maybe the biggest part of the cost is about transportation. It's about logistics, because plastic and materials, once you use them, they are very light. It is efficient to move a lot of food or a lot of bottles with products, but once they are used, they are empty, they are very light. So it's very hard to get all the materials, enough materials to move a truck or to move a ship. So the first line in costing is transportation, is reverse logistic. There's one point where we work with, because everyone at home can identify your local recycler, and everyone at home can send the material to the local recycler very easy, very fast. You don't have to move a lot of trucks and transportation.
How many such local collectors or recycling centers you are working with in Costa Rica and in other markets?
Yeah, it depends, because in Costa Rica, for example, we have 400 different points where you can take your materials, but some of them are for ordinary materials, plastic, cardboard, aluminum, but some of them are for electronics. In Colombia, we have now 200 points, and in Colombia we have just like 6 months of operation. And in each country you can find different ecosystem. In Costa Rica you work with municipalities. We have 70 municipalities working with us. But in Colombia you have association of recyclers. In Argentina you have cooperatives. Every country has tried to solve the problem in a different way, but every country has great things, and every country has terrible things happening in terms of recycling. So we try to identify what is working, what is good practices, people very connected with the ecosystem. Like for us, the good understanding of this market, which is not environmental thing, is not environmental issue, is an economical opportunity, which has a good environmental consequence. And when I was telling about the two main costs that they have, I said the first one is transportation, and the second is electricity and the cleaning process in the centers. If you receive the material clean and dry and separate, it's very easy for the recyclers to separate it and sell it very fast. Every center that works with eCoins has experienced an increase in the amount of material and a reduce in the cost of the operation. And maybe can be at the beginning not as recognized in the final numbers, but every day you see the changes, and every day that you have a new user of your center. Every day someone knows about the work you're doing. It's an industry that we need to recognize. It's a people that we need to dignify, because it's a very hard work. And it's very, very rare that you said, oh yes, I'm very useful with the recycling industry. I have been working in my free time in the recycling center. A lot of people, they don't even know where the materials go. So it's a matter of understanding that we cannot be disconnected anymore. We need to know, if I buy this bottle in the supermarket, I know where this bottle should be ended at the end of my consumption process, because I'm the owner of this bottle. I bought the bottle with the liquid or the soda or the yogurt. This is my bottle until the end. And this is the production bottle until the end. If we talk about circular economy, we need the producers to change the mindset and redesign the processes. If there are materials that you cannot replace yet, because for food, it's very complicated to replace some kind of plastics, for example. If you cannot change the materials, you need to pay for the collecting and the transformation.
That concept is called something like extended producer responsibility, right? It's quite a norm in Europe already, but I don't know if that's already happening in Costa Rica. The government is making the producer paying for those collection and recycling of their product?
Not yet. We have very beautiful laws since 2010, let's say almost 12 years we have the law, but the government cannot follow and they cannot apply the law as we need it. And the producers are not maybe some of them, but the majority are not taking responsibility, not enough for the material and the contamination they are provoking. They need to work with the consumer. You remember the voice, the brand voice? We need that those voices speak to the people too and say, okay, this is the greatest telephone you can have. But what is going to happen with this phone when you want to change it or you want to move to the next version? Okay, give me your old phone and I will be responsible for recycling. It can make the difference if brands start talking with the same voice that they use for selling and use the same voice for recovering and to start the circular economy cycle in the reverse logistic.
Do you feel like is there some work being done from the government side?
I think they work hard, but they don't have a lot of resources in this subject, and especially think during pandemic times, all the resources from the public sector goes to health, trying to support people and try to reduce the amount of people affected for COVID. So the priorities are clear, and now there's a lot of people without work that they lose their jobs during pandemic, and we have a great opportunity here to say, okay, we need to create thousands of new jobs, green jobs, and the opportunities that our industry, and I'm saying our industry, which is from all of us, because we create the problem, so we have to create the solution as well. We have to participate in all the solutions available. We need to be part, and we have to incorporate it as our normal life. When you wash your dishes, Carol, every time you wash your dishes, you wash your can or wash your bottle and put it clean and dry and separate. At the end, when you put the plates in the shelf, put the bottle in the blue container or the paper in the yellow container. It's a matter of habit, to have an habit. Every day, like brush your teeth. The government is not behind you saying you need to wash your teeth. It's the same thing with the recycling and the materials and the circular economy. We need to go further, and we do not need someone as government or a law saying companies or people be responsible for the problem you're causing with your consumption. We need to create a very fast mindset, like a change to responsibility, and it's the responsibility of the producer. Of course, there's law, but the consumer has the power, because we are the one who choose which company we buy to, or which material we are buying, or if we can reduce or reuse or recycle or help people to repair. We have the power of the consumption.
eCoins has been expanding relatively fast in the last few years, and you have opened a few markets in Central America and Latin America already. So what are the major obstacles and challenges you feel like when you went to other markets compared to Costa Rica? What are the differences in here?
Well, if you said fast, in my brain is like, not fast enough. We want to go faster. We feel sometimes that we are running out of time. We feel that we are really in the limit of the extinction, the extinction of our species. It's our generation, the one that has the opportunity to move a little bit, to make a small turn in our practices. And so for me, we have done a lot, but it's never enough. Obstacles every day, we have a lot. Every day it's like we got used to hear the no question, the no answer when we invite people to get into this ecosystem. But maybe it's a matter of timing. There's a lot of people that still not ready to hear about this. It's a matter of education, priorities, the way you were educated as a manager. You were educated to create money for your shareholders and to sell and sell and sell and expand and create more markets. It's the way the world decided how successful is defined. Success is money, growing, expansion, numbers. There's enough resources for everybody. There's enough production of food, but we waste 1/3 of the food we produce. So the first obstacle we face is this understanding, the KPIs. The KPIs are wrong. We have to move to the measurements of health and happiness and well-being. and well-being and justice. Have the possibility to get the resources you need and just the resources you need, no more than that. And let the rest for the people who need it, and do the best you can with the resources you really need. If people do not understand that we are measuring our lives and our program with different approach, and they ask us in eCoins, okay, what's your profit this year and how many tons of plastic have you collected to sell? And when we said this is not our KPI, our KPI is how many recyclers now are known and dignified, how many people has the information and the education now to do the right things at home and teach the kids at home how to do it, to change. And how do you, Carol, measure education? How can you measure the mindset change and the recognition of these people that works in recycling? How can you measure this?
Is there any very difficult moment in the eCoins journey where you feel like, okay, I cannot do this anymore. It's really difficult. I got to stop. It's not going anywhere.
Well, many times. I think from the very beginning, it was difficult to design the system. How can we involve many different stakeholders with different interests, different backgrounds, and put everybody together in the same page and make everybody perceive that they are winning, not the same, because everybody is looking for different value. The first, I think, before we launched it, like in 2017, October, I remember one day that I said, maybe we need to abort the plan. I don't know how to do it. And then with our people and our team, we said, okay, let's start over from the very beginning. Because maybe you go further and further and you start taking some routes and you forget where you started. So we said, okay, let's leave this here and let's start from the very beginning and let's remember our purpose and what's the reason we want to do this. And it works because we redesigned it simple, like easier, and we decided to launch it in 2018. And many people that maybe they hear about eCoins at the beginning 3 years ago and they say, nah, this is not going to work. It's not nice that people tell you every day, nah, this is not going to work, but many people were like using it. And some of them from the beginning, now they are coming. They are saying, do you still working? Do you want to talk? And how about eCoins now? What are you doing, girls? The way we have been leading or putting the leadership in this has convinced people that we are serious. That we are the PR company and this is still working, but we really are committed with this and we are serious. And maybe from the very beginning we had not all the answers, but every day we are like improving a little bit.
How about the public sectors? Like what kind of role the government is playing in eCoins?
Well, from the very beginning we went to the government because we had a law. And we knew that the people in the Ministry of Health, which they are the leaders in terms of waste in Costa Rica, we go with them and we spoke about eCoins and they loved the idea, Ecolones in that time, and we signed an agreement. And we did that for many reasons. The first one is because we know that government can change. So we didn't want to waste our time and energy like starting over every time the government is changing. And we don't want to be perceived as something like opportunist, like this one-shot thing. eCoins is here to stay, it's permanent. So we want to create this like base with the government, and we sign an agreement, and they already like sign it again. We have two periods, and then with the industry, depending of the kind of industry, the kind of waste or the kind of material, we have to create some alliance with different governments or different ministries. Yes. And for example, the municipalities, they are part of the public sector, and we are working with 70. We have 83 in Costa Rica, and we have signed with 70 now, which is the majority of the country. Like 80% of the country is now affiliated or working with eCoins. So once again, it's like at the beginning, people had doubts. And when they see us do it again and again and again and try harder every time, they believe that we are really wanting to do it.
It's often the case with entrepreneurs and founders, right? Your passion gonna be contagious and people will start to get on board by your passion.
Yes, and they know that many of the resources are from our side. Lucila and I are the main investors, not just in energy and passion and craziness. Is our money is in eCoins project, because we really believe that we are doing an investment that is going to last for us, for our kids, for our grandkids, and for the country.
Do government also provide sort of financial support for you, like a grants kind of support?
No. We want to be close to the government, but not too close, because they can change, of course. And there's people always there, more technicians, and they help us, and we really collaborate with government. And they always said, thank you, you really, really are helping the system. But we need to keep a healthy distance, because this is not a political or governmental perspective. We want to create value for everybody. So we work with the private companies. We receive money from the companies that produce the goods and services, and we are like reporting to the government that everything's okay, and we invite them to work with us in different activities and campaigns, and we collaborate a lot.
eCoins is not taking money from the government. So how do they sustain themselves? In part 2, we will be talking with Carla and find out how she and her team designed a social business model that positions every participant as winning, that is not for profit, but sustainable. Stay tuned and see you soon.